Hello, everybody. How are you doing? It is Friday. Are you guys excited that it's actually Friday? I tell you, it has been a very busy week. We are a few minutes late this morning going live. We normally go live right at 12:30, but it's been a very busy uh, day today with closings and so forth. So as soon as we got a chance to come in really quickly, we went ahead and jumped on in. So thank you for your patience that we are a little bit behind today on our Financially Fit Fridays at 12:30 Central Normal Standard Time. Okay, Central Standard Time. I'm going to go ahead and go live as well on Instagram and see if we can get that up and running. Today, we're going to be talking about that good debt versus bad debt. We've been getting a lot of questions about whether they should actually get involved with certain types of debt because of what's going on in the economy, right? And let me tell you this: it is. Let me get this together real quick before we go too far. Go too far. Hold one second. I don't want you guys to miss this on this end as well. Okay, so let me go ahead and get this moving right along. That works right there. That will work just fine. One second. If I can actually get that screen together, we'll be good to go. All right. So yeah, here we go. We'll go ahead and get that started. So what we're talking about is the good debt versus bad debt. And so, before we get too far into that, let me just say Happy Friday to you guys. It is Business Week, yay! Small Business Week. We want to make sure we give the acknowledgement of those small business owners out there that are out there doing it really good this right now. They're just moving into it. They are working their butts off to make sure that their business is flourishing. They are revamping what's not working in their business. They've taken the annual reports. They've looked at all the things that's been going on in their business on whether it is working for them or not working for them. They're actually acknowledging other businesses by doing collaboration deals and things of that nature. And so I want to take a moment to acknowledge you and say happy business week, small business owners. I'm so happy that you are taking into all the account of all the nuggets that we provide here and the content that we provide to try to make sure we help as much as we possibly can in whatever your venture is. So one of the things that we love to do is we like to talk to our business owners about trying to make sure their budgets are in line. Now, one thing about budgets is that it really changes from season to season. It depends on what's going on in your particular business. But the main question we've been getting this week is about good debt and bad debt. So, for those people that are, let's just say that you are an investor, or possibly you are trying to get your own personal finances together in your own home. We can even look at it from a personal standpoint. If we look at it from a personal standpoint, right? When you're talking about what's in your day-to-day bills, and you're talking about what is actually going on in your current finances, well, what exactly is the goal? What is the goal that you have in mind that you're trying to maintain? And so, if you are trying to maintain being able to buy something, maybe a home, or maybe you're trying to put yourself in a good financial position with retirements and things of that nature, then depend on what you're doing to bring that about. That could be a what we consider a good debt. Okay, let me explain. So one of the things I did earlier this week, and I've been doing this all week long. I'm truly a student, right? So no matter where I am, and if I have a good 10-15 minutes to jump in on maybe a training seminar or something like that, I will definitely jump in on other people's training seminars. So earlier this week, I had the opportunity to jump in on a training of REITs properties, how to actually invest in REITs properties and buy those for my portfolio. And so, one of the things that I like to do is think about trying to put some money away for my son and possibly for my retirement. Want to get involved with the real estate in such a way where I don't have to actually have my hands on it, right? So I don't have to have my hands on REITs properties and things of that nature, but I can invest in them, right? That's a whole nother strategy of adding to your portfolio outside of stock land. You can get stocks and you can get REITs, but it's what we call REITs is the real estate trust. So if you want to actually get into that, that is an area where you can put more income into your portfolio for passive income later. So I took a training class, all that to say, I took a training class in the passive income for the REITs property, set in on like an almost 2 hour seminar late one night earlier this week. And that's not the only one I've done this week. I've done several this week, but that one in particular, I want to go ahead and jump in on because I was like, okay, this may be an extra bill for me to actually put money to the side to be able to invest into REITs properties for my portfolio. Now, is that a good debt for me to have at this time during my working years? Yes, it is, because putting in, even if it's like $5 or $10 or $11 or whatever I'm paying for per share within that REITs property, that is gaining not only dividends, but it's also gaining passive income, right? And so I said, you know what? This is a great opportunity for me to go ahead and list that as one of my so-called bad debts. No, it is a good debt that I'm going to put to the side for myself because it's part of my monthly strategy, monthly debts that goes out, monthly income that comes in. And like I said, we were talking about budgets earlier, but when you're talking about budgets, what are you budgeting for? Are you budgeting for something that's going to actually make a difference for you in your lifetime of income, of passive income, or possibly even positioning you to be able to walk away from that job, positioning you to be able to walk away from all the other things that you really want to be without? You want to do without a 9 to 5. You want to be without having a boss in the future. You want to be your own boss one day where you can just walk away from the job that you're in. Okay, what are you doing right now to make that happen for you, right? And so when we were asked the question, we got a call earlier this morning from one of our clients in Oklahoma, and she was like, Miss Curry, I have this thing, is this going to be a good debt for me, a bad debt for me? Should I not? Da, 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 da. I said, well, what is the end goal? What is the end game for this particular debt per month? Is it going to make a impact on your life to change the scope of where you're trying to be in 5, 10, 15, even 20 years? And she said, you know what? When I put it into the calculator and I compare how much money I'm doing right now, putting into the bank and letting it sit there for 5 to 10 years at this particular interest rate versus putting it into this particular product and what it's going to do for me for the same time frame at this particular interest rate, it's going to make me probably 4 to 5 times the amount of money that I would have made by just letting it sit there in the savings. I said, see, you just answered your own question. You answered your own question. Sometimes the only thing you have to do is just really look at the numbers to make sure if that particular debt of what you're trying to do. Her question was, should I add on the extra $50 a month, or should I put that extra $50 a month in savings? Well, you tell me if that extra $50 a month in savings or that extra $50 a month on this product that you're interested in is going to make a huger impact or a much larger impact to help you meet your end goal. And in doing so, she was like, oh, guess what? I just answered my own question. I said, that's true. But guess what? It is not a bad debt. So your question was, is this a good debt or a bad debt? It is not a bad debt. It is a good debt for you if it is actually telling you that you are going to be able to maximize this money with compound interest paid to you that makes a significant difference. Now, this is not the only thing that you should have in your portfolio. That's the first thing I tell clients. I said, when it comes to building a diversified portfolio, you must have certain things in there that is working passively for you and things that you are putting a little bit more sweat into. Okay. But in this particular question, your question had merit. And yes, it is a good debt for you to have, for you to be able to see that it's going to pay you 4 to 5 times the amount that it would have paid you had you just put it into the savings account. This is where it comes in when you do your research. This is why it's important for you to look at your numbers. If you're not sure, guys, Google it. I promise you. If you will go in and do a Google search for interest calculations, 5-year game plan, you can look up a particular calculator to put in. If I put this amount of money in for this amount of years at this particular interest rate that is paying currently, not taking into effect that they may give you an increase later, just what the interest rate is right now. What is the return on it right now? And you can actually determine if that particular product or whatever you're going to put your money in, what is the IRR on that thing? Is it going to make a difference for you? And if it's not going to make a good return for you, then why do it? Why put your money into something that's not going to make a good return for you? Right? We're talking about longevity. And so when we're talking about financially fit Fridays, that's why we brought this particular segment to the forefront, because we get some interesting questions when we're talking about how to actually have longevity that makes sense, and being able to look back and say a year later, 2 years later, that this is going to happen. Now, earlier, for you guys who are just coming on, I see quite a few people that's just coming on right now. So let's talk about this a little bit in more depth. I mentioned to you I was on a training call earlier this week. It was actually a Zoom meeting, about 2 hours long. Yeah, 2 hours long. But guess what? I got so many nuggets in that 2 hours. Let me tell you, one of the things that I always look for is particular ways to make passive income that will not require my hands on it. Once I put my hands into it, I do a little research, make sure it's the right company, make sure it's the right reach. I just want to make sure everything looks good. Look at them historically. What have they done the last 20 years? What have they done the last 25 years? Is that going to change? Is it going to be a recession proof type of company? How does that look for me? Right? With that research, I say, you guess what? This is going to be something I can put some money to the side in. It's going to be a little extra debt per month. But if it does what it has done historically for the last 20 to 25 years in paying dividends or anything, whatever it's paying for me, right? Whatever that money is, whatever that return is, if it's operating the way it's supposed to operate, I can put it there and let it start making some returns for me. Because why? My 8 hours a day of working, I have the same 24 hours that you guys have. And in that 24 hours of day-to-day living, I need to be mindful of where my time is going. Let's talk about real estate. You guys know how big I am into the real estate game. So if we are actually doing real estate, and we're talking about how can I make sure that this money is making sense? Is this good debt, bad debt, good debt, bad debt? Let's talk about it. Now, one instance I had to help a client with this morning, just this morning. She is buying a pre-foreclosure property. And she said, hey, I can't get finance. It's only $50,000. What do? I can't get it financed. Well, why can't you get it financed? Because it's lower than the $100,000 threshold. I understand. There are a lot of lenders that won't go below that. So what do? You get creative. Do you have any business credit? No, I don't have any business credit. Have you ever had any business credit? How about your husband? Does he have any business credit for his business? No. Okay, so we're going to work on that later. That's a whole nother conversation that we have to have. You're going to have some business credit if you're going to be in this game, okay? But since you're just starting out, let's get creative. What can you do to finance this property? So here's one idea that one of the lenders came back with. I shot over to a lender and said, hey, we got this client. She got a property, $50,000. The valuation is $400,000. Can you believe that? $400,000. But she's trying to get in a pre-foreclosure situation. What can we do to get her financed? Oh, we can do 75 to 80% of whatever the value is. So if the value is $400,000, then we can do 80% of that in finance. She only need 45, 50,000. So if that's the case, guess what? Why don't we give some of it as a cash out to get you to that 100,000? Let's do a line of credit. Let's do a interest only financing, get you to that $100,000 threshold, right? $100,000, and then turn right back around and put whatever money you don't need back on that loan. Put it right back on that loan. So let's just say that the purchase price is $50,000. You are what? Financing $100,000 because you got to give that $100,000 threshold. Take that $50,000, put it back on the loan immediately. There is no prepayment penalty. Now you're only paying interest on the amount that you really want to pay interest on, which is the $50,000. Creative financing. Guess what? That is a good debt. You know why? Because when they finish doing the renovations, the after renovation value is going to be amazing. Okay, because it's already at 300,000 right now. It's $400,000 value right now, even before they do renovations, and they're buying it on a pre-foreclosure deal, which means they're getting it at a steal, Okay, so we're talking about good debt versus bad debt. How can you leverage? How can you maximize the amount of debt that you have where it makes sense to turn over massive returns? And this is how you decide on whether it is truly a good debt or versus a bad debt. It's all about the return. And if it makes sense to actually have it for a certain amount of time, is there a prepayment penalty that applies that you're just not aware of? Oh, you need to make sure you know those things day one. Okay. Is there a prepayment penalty involved? Okay. Can you put more money into it along the way? That's another question. Okay. Depending on what type of product it is. Right. So I wanted to bring those out to you today. We're talking about this is business week, y'all. I'm telling you, these small business owners, you got me fired up. I'm so excited for you because there's so many things that you can do within your business to make it flourish, right? And one of those things, even if it's personal add-on to your retirement, things of that nature, if you're trying to do some personal goals, you can use the same strategy, guys, to make sure that whatever you are doing and what you're putting your money into is actually giving you the return that it needs to give you. If it is not giving you the return that you need, such as a interest, a savings account, like it's just a regular savings account that's paying you 0.000001%, that is not a good investment to me. Okay, you can always have some emergency monies on hand that you can get to, but you can put your emergency money into a high interest yield account easier, a money market account easier, or other accounts that pay you 3 to 4% just so you can keep it liquid. But we're not doing a 0.0000 nothing percent. That's just not in my portfolio. That's not in my thought process. Nowhere near that. Nowhere near that. But I wanted to bring those things out and talk to you guys about what you want to look for when you are considering not just real estate itself and if it makes sense, but also if you're talking about what if I'm just putting money away just for my household? What if I'm just putting money in, a savings account or versus putting it into a REITs, a trust, and I want to be able to buy some REITs properties. I want to get in the investment game, but I don't want to have my hands on it. I don't want to do fix and flips. I don't want to do wholesaling. I don't want to get into the whole market of long-term rentals and Airbnbs. I don't want to do all that. I don't even want to touch a multi-unit. I don't want to manage anybody. I had one business owner tell me, she said, She said, I don't want to manage anybody. She said, I don't want to be after no rents. She said, I don't even want to deal with the management company. She said, I just don't want to have my hands into any of that. What I want to do is just put $1,000 or $2,000 a month into something and let it roll. There's ways for you to do that and still get your hands into the capital asset side of the house. Let it continue to make good return off of it for you, and you don't have your hands on it. So you have to sort of start thinking about what makes sense, okay? And what is the goal that you have in mind? And guys, please, Listen to me when I tell you this. Listen to me. Listen to me. Do not get no advice from somebody that don't have anything. Are y'all listening to me? I mean, that's real talk right there. That's real talk. Please do not listen to your friends, your colleagues, your next door neighbor, or listen to people in the areas of where you're trying to get to if they don't have what you're trying to have. Can y'all hear me when I say that? Yeah, put your hands up if you can hear me. Look, wave at me if you can hear me. Yeah, Instagram, tell me, because this is real. This is real. Please, guys, do not allow people to make a decision on your financial future when they don't have their skin in the game to tell you what to do or have never been there. Okay, that has never been there, that is not working in the industries that you're trying to get into, that are not seeing the returns that you're trying to have, that are not in those areas that make a difference for you. Okay, it's sort of like the blind leading the blind. How can you take direction from someone that's not in the game, right? Or never even showed you that they flourished from being in the game, right? So really, really important, guys. So I just wanted to come by. This is Financially Fit Friday. You guys are getting me all excited. It's Small Business Week, and I'm so thankful for you. I appreciate you guys being here with me today. I hope that was some really good nuggets just to help you just a little bit and give you some food for thought of where you want to be in this bad debt versus good debt situation. What actually makes sense? For me, good debt has all the answers to do about return. Is it going to make sense? Is it going to compound? Can I see that it's going to outperform something else that I'm trying to do, et cetera, et cetera? What is the end game? What is the goal? And if those things can be achieved with what you're trying to do, it can be a good decision. Okay. Just want to talk to you guys. Thank you so much for joining me here. And I will see you guys next week on Financially Fit Fridays. All right. Talk to you later.